Good morning, guys. It is 10:41 a.m. September 24th, 2017. That is Eastern Time for me. All right, I'm going to run you through these models real quick. We do have a hurricane update coming up around 11 a.m., so chances are we'll have some new information. Right off the bat, a little bit of good news with Maria is it has dropped in wind speed about 5 miles per hour, and that basically takes it down to a Category 2 storm. The pressure is still at 948, which is kind of low. The one thing I'm not really understanding as far as these models go is the pressure, even shown here when it was over Dominican Republic, showed 989. The pressure was significantly lower than that at that time. So it doesn't look like the pressures on these charts are adding up correctly. So that is something to look out for, because when you bring it up to where it basically is now, this is actually the 25th, but I could back it up a little more, and it shows pressures of 978 when we all know that it's at 948. So significant difference in those pressures. I'm not sure why they're not updating that. It could be just something I don't understand yet, but regardless, here are the numbers they're showing. As far as the nav gem goes, it brings it very close to the Outer Banks, almost touching it before that front we're waiting for comes in and pulls it out. And again, guys, that's still what we're waiting for. I know we've been hearing this a lot, but this is the track of the storm. We do need this wall to move across the U.S. in order to push Maria out. If you notice, we also have Hurricane Lee now. Hurricane Lee was upgraded, I believe, overnight. It may have been around midnight, 1 a.m., but we are at 85-mile-an-hour winds, 983 pressure. The good news about Lee is that it's expected to stay stuck on the right side of this Bermuda Atlantic bubble and then eventually get taken away by the same front that we're waiting for Maria to be affected by. So that's good news. The trajectory of the storm right now is 1 mile an hour to the south. That is, again, expected to change, as you can see here with these models. It doesn't look like Lee is going to be anything for us to really worry about. Again, once it's gone, we will know that for sure, but just wanted to update you at least on that part of it, that it did become a hurricane basically overnight. Here is a look at the chart we've been using to follow our jet stream wall. You can see the wall right here. It's very clear with all the vapor going on in the air. They are getting a lot of rain in Texas right now because of this. They're actually predicting 8 to 12 inches of rain in areas as far east as Dallas. So a lot of these areas getting saturated right now with this front. Again, it's basically like a straight line keeping the hot weather on this side and the cold weather on this side. They even said in Green Bay, where they're playing, I believe I'm actually not sure who they're playing. I got to check that out. But regardless, they said this might be the hottest kickoff ever at Lambeau Field. About 88 degrees during kickoff, and that's the second or third day of fall we're in now, guys, so that's pretty rare. Just abnormally high temperatures here. It is causing a high pressure, and that high pressure mixed with the Bermuda Atlantic is directing Maria to its path. So what we're looking for now is to see how close Maria is going to get to areas like the Outer Banks, which I pulled up really quick on Google Earth for you just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So basically, if Maria were to sit out here, even without a landfall, we could be dealing with a lot of water issues, flooding, beach erosion. They actually announced that they might be putting out some warnings today. Maybe nothing very serious that would cause evacuations, but again, they are expecting this storm to get close enough to where it's going to affect this area more than not. So again, guys, that's why we're following this. It's very important to know where this storm's going, especially for the people that live in this area. It's a lot of water. There could be flash flooding issues and stuff like that. So again, main concern, as it was yesterday and basically the day before, is waiting for this pressure wall to get here and meet Maria and take it out. We have lost Jose, so that high pressure has connected in the northeast, forming almost like a barrier, and that's why you see some of the models actually ticking this thing a little bit to the left towards the east coast a little more before it gets picked up. Now, if you notice, one of these models, the JGSI, actually has a little bit of a straight line going up towards South Jersey. That could be for one of two reasons. I'm going to try to explain that here. If I can find there we go. All right, so if I backtrack a little bit, you notice the jet stream U comes down real low all the way into Mexico in the Baja region, and that's good. That's what was giving us the projections that Maria was going to just kind of turn out to sea. But as you notice, when the jet stream's moving, that bottom part, it begins to bend The bottom U stays in areas near Texas and North Mexico, and then you see this front wall moving on its own. This is similar to what happened with Irma. I don't see a break yet, but if you watch here closely, you see the jet stream U starts to lift up even higher than North Carolina, and I think that's why some of these models are showing that line, because the jet stream U might pass over Maria before it has a chance to get pulled out. So this is one of two things. Either this projection model is showing Maria getting here first before it gets taken to the right, or possibly the jet stream lifting over Maria entirely and maybe not having that effect that we're looking for. Let's hope that's not the case. That's not what we want. But as of right now, these are the projected models. Some of them do keep it in that goalpost kick I was talking about between Bermuda and the Outer Banks area. That would be a good sign too if it would just stay out in this area. But the direction it's heading right now, guys, it's going to more than likely end up right outside the Outer Banks, and then we have to wait for that jet stream wall. So again, a lot of repeat information, but again, this is what we're waiting for. Here is a basic timeline of what they're expecting. Wednesday at 2 a.m. it could be in this area, and then between that time on Wednesday and Thursday, about 24 hours, is that critical time where we need to really watch to see if Maria is going to keep its strength at 110. Big difference between Cat 1 and Cat 3, guys. It's a 50 times difference. So we want this storm to drop down more and maybe only be a Category 1 by the time it gets here. Again, regardless of landfall, this little bit of delay that they're expecting it to just sit here, kind of like Jose did in the Northeast, is not what we want, because there's areas in the Outer Banks that just get flooded very easily. It's a lot of water there, so those people, you should expect some sort of warnings or watches to happen. That doesn't mean there's going to be landfall. It just means they're being cautionary because they don't know, guys. They're all relying on this wall. You can kind of see it in the still image here, where they forecast these storms. So we got Maria here, we have Lee once again, and then I just want to show you, we have Tropical Storm Pilar, I believe is how you pronounce it, here on the west coast of Mexico. This is a similar area to where Hurricane Max was, and I believe Norma was the name of the other hurricane they expected to go up into the Baja region as a Cat 4. Luckily that didn't happen, but again, we still have action going on in the Pacific Ocean. We do have another chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours developing now. That's pretty new. That wasn't here when I was first looking this morning. So again, just something else to watch, guys. Right here. Okay, so this is what I want to take a look at now. You can see these bands starting to hit areas of the North Carolina coast, South Carolina, and in turn, maybe parts of the Georgia coast. Nothing super crazy with that because of the trajectory of Maria. So again, guys, not a lot of new news here. We are still just in a race with this jet stream wall. We need it to get here before Maria can make landfall, and then hopefully all we would have to deal with is some flooding, maybe some high winds on the coast, beach erosion, stuff like that. So in about 10 to 20 minutes, I believe they have another hurricane update at the Hurricane Center, so we might get some more information. Hopefully the winds will weaken a little more. I do see it just teeter-tottering on that Cat 2 to Cat 3 range for the next day or two. Again, as it progresses up the coast, we will expect it to be dying down a little more, but again, it's just a matter of how strong it's going to be by the time it gets towards these Outer Banks areas. And again, we got to keep an eye on these models, guys, because some of them are beginning to adjust. This pink one is sort of new. It's moved a little bit closer to the East Coast, but again, we are expecting this right turn out into the ocean. That's what we want to see. And once again, Wednesday, 2 a.m. is between Wednesday and Thursday is going to be its closest approach. So just something to keep an eye on, guys. I'm going to do another update once we get the hurricane forecast. They're going to send the airplanes back into it. Now that it's getting closer to the coast, they will be able to do more recon missions and get us more data. So guys, that's what we have for right now. I will be back in a couple hours with a detailed update, and I hope you're all having a good morning, guys. I'll talk to you all very soon.